Okay, go ahead. Now we're recording.
Okay. So how do I get my new coaches started right without them getting overwhelmed? So in the beginning, I signed them up and caused them to be overwhelmed because I didn't really have a system that worked, and I kind of expected everyone to jump in like I jumped in and learn everything and just do their own thing and dig in and find their own tools and resources and things like that and just take off. And so in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of coaches that really grew like they should have, and I kind of failed as a coach in that way. So living through that and learning from that, I kind of developed some new processes where I base most of my training off of the Danny Johnson Gem Test. So I have a new coach email. So every time I sign a coach up, I have a new coach email. It's fairly short. And I can even share it if you wanted me to, but it says basically, welcome to the team. Here's our team Facebook page. So there's a link to the Facebook page where they can join the Facebook page. And then it says, next, you're going to do this gym test. And I have a link where I've kind of recreated it and used my own font and colors and things like that in my own template to walk them through the gym test. And then from there, they go to our team training website. So I kind of implemented the gym test just because, as you guys know, not everyone is the same and not everyone is motivated by the same things. Not everyone takes, maybe that hardness as a coach, that tough love as well as the next person. Some people need that hand holding and that warm fuzziness where I'm more like, just do it. You know what I mean? So I had a hard time kind of bringing everyone up how they should be and how they reacted best to training. So I implemented the gym test, and when I hear back from them, I usually have them message me after they complete the gym test. And I want to know what their primary color is or primary gem is and what their secondary gem is. So that can tell me, if I have a pearl and emerald or something like that, I know to take it a little more gently with them and walk them through things a little slower. Where if I have a ruby sapphire like me, I can be like, okay, go register for Punta Cana and Summit, and then let's hit Success Club and let's rank advance, and like you get a free t-shirt and like stuff like that. That kind of thing motivates people more than like a pearl. So that's how I found it best to not overwhelm people, because I can't give, I have a GSR video that I've made, and it's like 50 minutes. And so those coaches who are my sapphires that don't want to sit down and watch a video and are motivated by fun, and they're like, last thing I want to do in the entire world is sit down and watch an hour-long video, I can't send that to them, right? I have to send it to them in little chunks to give them different, sites or just different avenues to get that same information versus expecting them to sit down and watch a whole video. So, and that would overwhelm them, right? That sapphire personality would be overwhelmed by an hour-long video and not be interested at all. And then I would probably feel as a coach by having them fall off the face of the earth and not talk to me anymore because it's not what they expected out of coaching. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I do that. I send them to my website. On my team website, it's Lux. What's my website? luxrepubliccoaches.com. And it's open, like it's public. So you guys can go to that if you want to. luxrepubliccoaches.com. And first thing they see whenever they click on that is what their gem is. So it says, I'm a ruby, I'm a sapphire, I'm a pearl, I'm an emerald. And they click on whatever their primary gem was. And based on that, they go through a series of, I think it's like 5 different videos or tools or things like that to help them get started. So that's what I do. After they complete that, I usually have them send me a text message saying that they're done. And then from there, based on what their personality was, I say, okay, now let's push for Success Club, or let's focus on getting a challenge group together and reaching out to some people and just different things like that. And just really take it step by step based on what their personality is. So, does that help?
Yeah. Raina, can you say the website again?
Yeah, it's LUXE Republic, luxrepubliccoaches.com.
Okay, so then the second part of that question is, how do you build trust with your coaches who are from your cold market and community? Trust and community.
I mean, I think that a lot of it starts before they even sign up. I think a lot of it starts by your presence on social media. So if I were kind of, not there all the time or not there every day, and I wasn't posting workout videos, I wasn't posting about what the coaching opportunity has done for me, then it'd be hard for people to trust me if I were coming at them saying coaching is for you. You'd make a great coach. It'd be hard for them to see that the benefits of coaching in a way. So first and foremost, I'm present every single day on social media, every place I can be. Facebook and my like page used to be my primary. Now it's Instagram and Snapchat more than anything. So just being present. I think that Snapchat, I'm excited to talk about this in our EA group because it's really just like this live sneak peek into your life every single day. And if you're not using Snapchat, I highly recommend starting because you can have the same followers from Instagram or from Facebook that follow you on Snapchat, but it's like they get that deep like connection, that peek into your life every single day, where if you're running a sneak peek for an hour a month or a sneak peek for 5 days out of the month, like they only get a snippet of it, you know what I mean? And every single day on Snapchat, I can show them the freedom that coaching gives me. I can show them that I'm still into health and fitness and walking the walk as a coach and things like that. And it really helps build that trust before they even sign up. So after they sign up, I'm still forming them. Like I'm still trying to get to know them as they reach out about what coaching is or about what a challenge group is and things like that. I'm still having that one-on-one conversation with them every single time, trying to get to know them the best I can and trying to look for clues that might make me reiterate the fact that they would make a great coach or they would really benefit from a challenge group. And every conversation I do that. And then once they're in, I think we have such a retention problem in this business. And so once they're in, I feel like it's really just about continuing that relationship with them. I use Asana to track. And so every time I recruit a new coach, I put them in my Asana and I have a follow-up date for 2 days later. And so I'll check in on them saying, hey, have you made it through the training material? How's everything going? That kind of thing. And then from there, I'm usually talking to them at least once a week, but the majority of the time they're reaching out to me and having a conversation with me. So I know that if I haven't heard from them in a week, I need to check in. I need to focus on them, find out, make sure they're still on their health and fitness journey. I think too many times we get, and this is new to me too, too many times we get wrapped up in, let's get them to Success Club, let's get them to Emerald Rank, let's get them to Diamond, let's push them in the business. And then they lose track of the fitness aspect of things. And I think that, Carl talked about it at Summit the entire time at Summit for a reason. I feel like we're losing track of that. So making sure, it's my priority to make sure that they are 100% focused on their journey first and foremost and encouraging them in that way. And then the business is going to follow. So.
Awesome. I love it. And you do
Did
such
that-
a good job of like putting fitness first, especially like your call in EA, like about just being proof the products work and your own transformation. Like,
Yeah.
actually, can you talk a little bit about what you talked about on that live video? Just like
Yeah.
the whole story of
Absolutely.
competition to like gaining weight.
Yeah. Well, I actually got asked just this past week to speak on the National Wake Up Call in October about it. So I'm kind of excited. I know. So I'm like, you know what? I've never been that coach that had like this huge physical transformation or anything. And so this is all kind of new in a way. But, when I started Beachbody, I'd never done a workout program, never done Shakeology, nothing. And so I jumped in with P90X and Shakeology and had an insane transformation from that. Like at the time, I was in the best shape of my life. And then I completed, I did half of T25. And then I decided that much jumping really caused me to pee my pants every single day. So I stopped that. And I went back into lifting. So I did Body Beast. And then after I finished Body Beast, I got approached about competing. And so I was like, you know what? Okay, yeah, this is the next step. That's, I guess, what you're supposed to do next. I was new to health and fitness, so I knew nothing. So I did that. My trainer at the time was anti Beachbody, you're not going to do a program from home. You can't have Shakeology because there's a carb and a sugar in it. Totally just against everything. So I completely cut Beachbody out. I continued to talk about it, but out of my personal journey, I stopped doing it. And so I competed. I did 2 shows. I qualified for a national show, and then I actually decided to stop because, one, I stopped being relatable. People were like, I'm following you and you're having this amazing transformation, but you're also, in the gym for 2 hours a day. You're also eating tilapia and broccoli every single day. That's not realistic. And I would have people message me being like, I don't want to do what you do. I just want to lose a little bit of weight. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm completely losing my following, losing that relatability with people. So I stopped and decided to not compete anymore. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to at-home workout programs. I'm going to go back to all of that. But I had developed this hate almost for working out. I had developed this hate for eating good. Like, I'm pretty sure I ate out at least 3 times a day after my competition. And I picked a program and I would dabble in it. I would literally set up my camera and take pictures like I worked out, but I didn't. And just became this fraud as a coach, literally just not doing what I was preaching to people. And I ended up gaining about 40 pounds after my competition. I'm 5'6". I was like 125 on stage. I got up to 160 something after my competition. And I was at that point in worse shape post competition than I was before I even started Beachbody, struggling with eating disorders and all kinds of things. And so I was just not in a good place at all. And I quit competing in January of 2015. So for an entire year, it was in March this year that I actually recommitted. And after a year and 3 months of dabbling in programs, I had not had any transformation. I was still overweight. I was still unhealthy. I'd never fully committed to a program from January 2015 up until March 2016. Never fully completed a program. So I had no progress pictures to show whatsoever. So in March, I got a colonoscopy done. I got diagnosed with colitis. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Like, they wanted to put me on prescription medication for it. And this is right when my husband was going through some issues with some prescriptions. And so I was like anti-everything. Like, I literally cleaned out my entire medicine cabinet, like Zyrtec, Tylenol, like gone. I was like, I'm not taking any of this. And I decided that I needed to control it through diet. And I saw a couple naturopathic doctors who told me, basically everything can be controlled through your diet. Everything, every health issue we have is basically because we're just eating all this poop food, you know what I mean? And so I recommitted and I decided to start with the Ultimate Reset. So I bought the Ultimate Reset and I started, it was like the very last week in March when I started it. And that program literally saved my life, mentally, physically, everything. I had a physical transformation from it. So, 21 days later, I was finally able to show progress, but I committed to it 100%. And more than the physical change, I had that mental change. You know what I mean? Like it at the point after my competition, all those eating issues I had came back, all the, that just negative relationship with food came back. And the Ultimate Reset just really kind of got me back to where I needed to be mentally. So after the reset, I did 21 Day Fix Extreme and I shared progress pictures from that in 21 days. And then I decided to do Insanity Max 30. And so I did that for 60 days. And then Country Heat came out and I was like, hell, why not? And so I did Country Heat and I am now 4 weeks into Hammer and Chisel. And this is literally, like, Brett's even said how blown away he is. This is the first time I've ever committed and finished programs back to back outside of P90X the first 90 days as a coach. So it's just been it's been fun to see how many people are reacting to a transformation that I've had. You have no idea how many people reach out on Instagram or Snapchat and they're like, okay, but really, what extra ab workouts are you doing? And okay, but really, no, what program are you following? Or what extra, are you going to the gym? And things like that. And I'm like, no, I'm literally just doing what the program said, beginning to end, front to back, to a T. And that's what we should be doing as coaches. And I feel that's where a lot of people, not fail or whatever, but maybe just get slowed down. They feel like they need to be in a gym, or for their own personal journey, these programs aren't enough. But I can't tell you how much of a transformation it's been, not just physically, but mentally also. Just being able to recommit to the programs and stick to it front to back and show that to people, and not doing hybrids, not doing 2 programs at a time and trying to tell people that, we need 2 programs at a time to make this work, but just committing and following it to a T. And I've had people, I have been able to lead again with fitness versus the business. And I think that I look back in my business over, the last 3.5 years, and those most successful coaches that I've had, the most successful ones who've just kind of dug in and taken off, I've led with fitness with them. I made sure they had a program. They committed to a program. They finished a program from beginning to end, and they had a transformation from it. And those coaches are the ones that really took off. Those ones where I, during that 2-year period where I wasn't focusing on fitness, I led with the business. I led with Hit Success Club, Hit Emerald Rank. I couldn't even tell you what programs my coaches were doing when they signed up because I didn't care. At that point, I was like, I just need them to work the business and be successful. And so I've seen just an amazing shift in the energy on my team and just the passion that people have now by leading with that fitness again. And it's really kind of transformed everything. You know what I mean?
I
So,
love that. And if you
yeah.
your transformation off our Facebook page,
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, I was just telling them to go on your Facebook and look at your transformation because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay,
So I
so-
still don't even like think it's, I'm just like, oh, I don't even feel like I look like that. It's weird. It's
I love
crazy.
it. I just lost my other question, but hold on. I think it was about how, sorry.
You're good.
How do you train your coaches to stand out on social media when like it's saturated, with
Yeah.
other coaches and other MLMs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to finding what makes you unique. You know what I mean? Like I always teach my coaches to find their five things that make them stand out. So for me, if you go to my Instagram, it's like I have my 5 things listed there. It's like it's like stay-at-home mom to CEO. So being an entrepreneur and traveling and graphic t-shirts and things like that. And it's finding those things that you're passionate about and just talking about them and speaking to those people that are going to share those same passions as you. I think that's where you find quality coaches also, is finding people who are like-minded, who enjoy the same things you do. Say the question again.
Okay, so, well, just like on to the next question, because I think you answered that,
Okay.
but somebody wanted to know like how you start your Hey Girl conversations, like talking to your cold market. How do you kind of break the ice and make it not weird?
Yeah. So again, I think it comes down to just asking questions to look for clues. So I mean, it's easy if I find someone in my newsfeed who's like complaining about their weight or complaining about their job or something like that, like messaging and saying, like, hey girl, I just saw your post and I really think I'd love to chat with you about the coaching opportunity or joining my team. I think you'd be great at it, yada, yada, yada. Or the same with the challenge group. Like, I'd love to chat with you about joining an accountability group. It's really helped me get back on track with my weight loss and things like that. I mean, I think it just goes back down to forming, I think, like talking to those people, getting to know them, asking. I mean, the easiest question in the world to ask is, what do you do for a living when you add a new friend? And I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're going to turn around and ask you the same thing. And I'm a health and fitness coach. I don't usually mention Beachbody because Beachbody has this icky taste in people's mouths. You know what I mean? So I eventually will get to that once they've realized that I'm a Beachbody coach. But I always say that I'm a health and fitness coach first and foremost. And 9 times out of 10, after I say that, it leads into, oh, I've seen your posts, or, oh, I've tried to start my own journey, or, oh, I'm lazy and I don't, you know what I mean? And it's easy to be like, well, you should think about joining one of my accountability groups. Or if you're already into health and fitness also, you should really think about coaching. I think you'd be great at it if you're already into yada, yada, yada. So it's really just, I think, about asking very specific, direct questions to help them kind of say what you want them to say. And I lead the conversation by asking those questions, but really just forming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so, that was all for like our pre-scheduled questions. So I think if you have time for like 2 questions.
Go ahead. Yeah, I've got time.
Okay, cool. Does anybody have any questions for Raina?
so helpful. I have.
You do? Yeah. You might have to come closer. I don't know.
I've never talked to you before. I'm in your
Introduce
group, so this is cool. Okay, so do you need to see me too?
Yeah, there you go.
A question I had is, when I start forming people and have those conversations going, after you do 5 one day, 5 the next day, 5 the next day, I end up with just my phone going off all day long, and I've got those conversations going. So I've tried doing it one way where I just answer them as they come in, but then I'm just not present for like real life. And then the other way I've tried it is to do it within a certain window. But the window that I'm answering those questions is not when they're there too. So it's very stop and go and doesn't flow. How do you handle all of the inflow of messages?
That's a good question. Some days I feel like I'm tied to my phone. Other days I do better sticking to my schedule. So it's kind of, over the last few months, honestly, since March, I've been better at like setting a schedule for myself. So my husband knows that I always have my phone in my hand, and I do very good, I think, at disconnecting sometimes. If we go on hikes and stuff like that, and I'm forced to because we literally have no service. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing with no phone. But during the week, I have a pretty set schedule. So I do this full time. So I don't know if a lot of you do full time or not, but either way, finding out that time in the day where you're really going to be the most effective. And if that happens to be when people aren't on, okay. You know what I mean? So for me, I kind of dabble. My kids are in school, so I work out in the morning, and then I usually start working at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something like that. And so I don't do a lot of messages during the day. It's more so just like checking in on my team and one-on-ones with my coaches and things like that. But at 8 o'clock at night, when my kids go to bed, I work from 8 o'clock to midnight every single night without fail. Now that's not, going to be a prime time for a lot of other people. So if it's in the morning, waking up and doing that early, or if it's those pods throughout the day, then you kind of have to make that work. But for me, I can sit down when my kids are in bed, when Brett's on the couch watching TV, some stupid TV show I don't want to watch. I can sit down with my laptop and just grind out messages from 8 o'clock to midnight. And I still have people at midnight going back and forth with me. So I find that for me is the prime time, and I can get more conversations closed at that time. So that's what I do. I don't know. I mean, I do have a lot though where, I'll send a message at 8 o'clock at night and they respond in the morning. And so I'm not returning the message till 8 o'clock at night, and then they respond in the morning. So the conversation does take longer, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay to have that conversation last a little while and take your time in it versus being glued to your phone and feeling that need to respond every 5 seconds that they send a message. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you don't get any work done that way either.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you we were talking about attraction marketing yesterday, and just a lot of top coaches, like I know Becca and I don't do a lot of cold invites because we have a lot of people coming to us. Do you find that because you're posting that you have more people coming to you instead of having to start the hey girl conversation, or do you reach out to your cold market quite a bit?
I still reach out. I don't have even, okay, so that's a lie. So, I do still reach out, but I am very intentional now that I have that dramatic transformation picture. I am very intentional about sharing it at least a couple times a week. And so I do call to action posts with those pictures, and I'll get a list of emails. And so that for me is, I think, been the biggest way to actually attract people, is by having that proof that the programs work. So building that transformation first and foremost, whether it's a physical transformation or mentally, whatever it is, having I tell my team all the time, go slut those pictures out. Like, people need to see that stuff every single week. But I still reach out to my cold market. If I'm in a period where it's kind of dry and I'm not having a lot of people coming in or a lot of emails being left to reach out to, then I'm going through my friends list and I'm reaching out to people and adding new friends. And I'm a firm believer of joining groups on Facebook. So I am in like some hiking groups and things like that, where I'll go in and just add a few people every single day, or have my assistant add a few people every single day. That way, when I'm posting hiking pictures, we have something to, have in common. I'm in a lot of multi-poop puppy groups and things like that. Just groups where I can find people who have the same interests that I do.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I think let's do like one more question, and then we'll let you get on with your day.
Okay.
You want to take the last question?
I have one, but it's not like a really important question.
That's okay. You have to come up though, because she might not hear you.
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
What did you say that you use to track your relationships with?
I use Asana. It's ASANA.
Okay, that's what I have. And how does that work? Like, what do you mean track your relationship?
So, and it's not just track my relations, it's really tracking everybody. So I track my coach potentials, my customer potentials. I track those people who bought challenge packs. I track my coaches, my discount coaches. I track international potentials. I track everyone. So every time I have a conversation with someone, I enter their name into Asana with their email or whatever form of contact that I use with them, or their Facebook URL or something. And I like Asana because Anna Gray actually has a tutorial on it on YouTube. If you guys want to watch that, that's how I kind of learned. I would watch her video and then pause it and kind of implement my own things. But you can set like follow-up dates. So say someone reaches out to me about a group, I can, send them a response, and then I'm putting a follow-up in for 2 days later. That way, if I never hear back from them in that 2-day period, I can send them a follow-up. So it's just caused me to be a little bit more on top of my follow-ups and not losing people as much, because that's a problem I had for a long time. I was a pen and paper person, and so we're very on the go all the time. And so if I'm having a conversation in the car while we're driving somewhere and I don't have access to my pen and paper, I'm completely losing track of that conversation and that person. So Asana has really, really helped with that, and I've been using that since January. Yeah.
Is that? Oh yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it is free.
Yay! All right. Well, Raina, we will let you go, but seriously, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you guys. Thank you. Have fun.
Thanks.
All
Talk
right.
to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.